Hi, and welcome back to Portugal, or at least the journey back to Portugal, which turned out to be a bit of a nightmare. So I travelled from New Haven to Dieppe because I've travelled with DFDS before, and as well as being the cheapest at the time that I was travelling, they also gave me a discount for being over 60. And the other advantage with them is it's a short crossing. And unlike Santander, where you've got to book for your pets well in advance and pay a premium to actually get them across, with the Dieppe crossing, your pets can stay in the car. So they're travelling in sort of familiar surroundings and not having the stress of a strange cabin or even worse, the kennels. And for this trip, I'm bringing my two ladies with me. I have to get back in time to cut my grass. The deadline this year for me is the 16th of June. Different Camaras might have different times, so if you keep an eye on the local Facebook pages or even the Camara websites, just so you know when your cutting time is. I've got just over 2 weeks to get there and get my grass cut, so I can take my time and have a nice gentle journey down, plenty of stops to give the cats a break, overnight stops where I can actually put them into the caravan with me and let them sort of roam loose inside the caravan. When I came back the last time, I took the toll roads, and I think it cost me about €260 more than it would cost by just going on the back roads. And according to the sat nav, it's only like a 5 hour difference. So for 5 hours, a saving of like €260, I decided to stick to the back roads as much as possible, a lot of which are actually dual carriageways and motorways anyway, which made it a nice easy journey towing the caravan, which towed quite well. Cars seemed to be going great, no issues, fuel economy is very good, and I made sure to stop every couple of hours just to spend a little time with the cats, make sure they had enough food, water, let them into the back of the car, use their litter tray, and jump into the front for cuddles and pets. Just generally talk to them to make the journey go a bit smoother for them. I did bring their pet carriers with me, but I didn't want them travelling in those, so I modified a medium-sized dog cage that fitted behind the passenger seat nice and tightly, and I made a few modifications, put in some carpet, put in an extra floor, and they actually seemed to enjoy the journey because they could see out. I could slightly open the window in the back so they could go up on the top and get some fresh air, see where they were going. My older cat, she's very social and likes to have discussions, so she'd sit up on the top and actually talk to me. And yes, I do talk back to her. Coming down through France, I was able to pull over a couple of airs, and having the caravan, I could take the cats out and let them loose in the caravan while I slept. Generally, they'd just curl up and sleep with me, which is what they normally do at home anyway. Both cats sleep on top of me at night. The older cat, her name is Cat, spelt C-A-T, and the little one, I got her to keep the older cat company when I was working, and her name is Cat, K-A-T, and that's actually what it says on their travel documents and their microchips. By the time we got over the border into Spain, the weather had picked up nicely, nice sunny day, about 50 miles from Burgos in northern Spain. There didn't seem to be anything wrong with the car. Everything was going great until I got to a small hill, and all of a sudden the car decided to die. Dual carriageway. I just managed to get the car and caravan over onto the hard shoulder before she totally died on me. I checked the water reservoir, there was no water in it at all, so I used the cat's water to try topping it up, and the water just gushed out from the back of the engine, not the radiator. So something burst and we lost water. Fortunately, the insurance on my car was Portuguese, so that includes motorway recovery. Unfortunately, it didn't cover the caravan because I forgot to notify the insurance company that I was towing a caravan, and you have to let them know in advance. So we waited at the side of the road for about 3 hours. I just opened the door, and the cats are totally relaxed, as you can see. Every time I went over to them, Madam would have a conversation with me. And we waited until a tow truck eventually arrived. Apparently there was a bit of confusion as to which road we were on, even though I had sent an actual map on WhatsApp. And eventually the tow truck arrived. You might want to Google their reviews if you ever get breakdown in northern Spain. If your insurance company sends this tow truck, phone them back and ask to get a different company or get towed to a different garage, because these guys are total scam artists. I got towed to the garage, and just as they were closing, apparently, I had to pay for the caravan getting towed up front, and then it was a case of take what you can from the car and adios amigo. So in my case, that was the clothes I stood up in and the cats. There is a hotel about half a mile down the road. I wasn't even offered a lift down to it. It was out the front gate and you're on your own. Those dog travel cages aren't exactly designed to be carried, and they left me pretty bruised for about a week and a bit painful, but managed to get to the hotel eventually, where I waited another 2 hours for the Spanish taxi to turn up. And because he was so late, he drove like a maniac through thunderstorms, flashing his lights at cars in front to get them to move. Eventually, halfway, we swapped to a Portuguese taxi, which was a rather lovely lady and her teenage son, who'd come along to keep her company. But when we got back to the farm, at the end of the lane, she wasn't happy about driving down the lane. It's about a kilometre down to my piece of land. And I used to be a taxi driver, so I quite understood where she was coming from. And I had to walk the last kilometre. So I managed to do about 50 yards before I opened the cage and threw the big cat out. And don't worry, my intention wasn't to abandon her. She's a daddy's girl, and anywhere I go, she follows. So she did the walk back to the farm by herself. One of my neighbours lent me a tent, so I wasn't just sitting exposed to the environment. And I spent the next few days going around asking anyone if they knew anyone that had a car that they could rent to me, lend to me, something with a tow bar that I could go and get the caravan. And eventually I met a gentleman called Stephen, very nice man. Tried to get me on his insurance so he could lend me his car. And when that failed, he just decided, well, I haven't had a day out for a while. I'll take you 500 kilometres each way to get my caravan back. And while we were there, I asked about the car, and the mechanic showed me a very shredded looking water pipe at the back of the engine. And I asked him if it could be fixed, thinking, oh, just a water pipe. And his answer was, not today. So we towed the caravan back to the farm. I spent the whole of the next day trying to phone the garage, never got an answer. Same on the following day. So I sent them an email, which I used Google Translate to translate into Spanish, asking them for a diagnosis, a time frame, and possible cost. 2 days later, I got a reply saying, I've spoken to the mechanic and the part has been ordered. After that, nothing. I kept emailing, same request, how long is it going to be? Eventually I had to get the insurance company involved. They contacted their Spanish office. It took them 5 days to get in touch with the garage. This kept going back and forward for a total of 49 days. Meanwhile, I'm walking back and forward a kilometre each way to the village just to get drinking water, and begging on Facebooks for a lift into Penamacor just to get groceries. There is 2 buses a day that go into Penamacor, but they sometimes don't turn up at all. So hitchhiking and Facebook seem to be the way to go. Eventually the insurance company managed to come back and say the garage has decided that the car isn't fixable, They replaced the part, and it's going to cost more than the car is worth to fix the car. And they want over €600 for what they have done so far, and storage for the time that they've had the car. Their excuse for not having contacted me is they don't have any contact details for me. But on the official documentation, I put my email address and my phone number, and they replied to my first email eventually, so they can't say that they don't have any details for me. But going by their Google reviews, this seems to be their normal tactic. Hold on to your vehicle for as long as possible, say they can't fix it, and then try to bill you for storage. The insurance company organised the car to be scrapped, so until I get a bill from the garage, I can't do anything about paying it. And when I do get a bill, I'll just tell them, not today. I'm more than happy to wait until they take me to court, because I've kept all my documentation, all my email attempts, records of my phone calls, and proof that they did reply to my email address, so they can't say they had no way to contact me. Eventually, I had to borrow money from family to get myself another car, and by way of a thank you to all the people that gave me a lift, I kept an eye on Facebook for anybody else needing a lift and returned the favour before eventually heading back to the UK. The insurance company were totally unimpressed that they had supposedly done the work without first sending me a quote. So with any luck, they'll have lost their contract with that insurance company, and hopefully some of the other insurance companies will follow suit once they get enough complaints.